Updating on Sports Central, we go over USFL game preview and prediction on the Week 3 matchup between the Birmingham Stallions and the New Orleans Breakers, the two final undefeated teams remaining in the USFL going head-to-head in Week 3. Should make for a great matchup. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Stallions beat the Gamblers 33-28 in Week 2. Still undefeated at 2-0. But yeah, we got only two undefeated teams remaining in this league as we head into Week 3, and the Breakers are the other team that is undefeated. They beat the Bandits 34-3 in their Week 2 matchup. That was definitely unexpected, seeing the Breakers play the Bandits and just destroy them there. The Bandits were widely considered the best team in the league heading into the season, considering the amount of talent that they had coming in from the draft. And I mean, overall, it's been kind of a disappointment for the Bandits so far, but the Breakers clearly look like the best team in the league now after taking them down 34-3, just shut down Tampa Bay in that matchup. Both teams are 2-0, two-game winning streaks, and once again, the two last undefeated teams in this league. Game will be on Saturday, April 30th in Birmingham. Your kickoff is 8 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going Breakers here by 3.5, so New Orleans is favored in this matchup. Not too surprising, but 3.5-point spread definitely is fairly wide, I'd say, going into this matchup, considering the Stallions are, I would say, not far behind the Breakers skill-wise. And if you look at our Week 3 rankings, these two teams, not surprisingly, are the top two teams in the league. Heading into Week 3, the Breakers are number 1 and the Stallions are number 2. Stat comparison for this matchup, these are just your stats through the first 2 weeks of action. The Stallions, 30 points a game, 26 points allowed. Pass yards a game, 213. Rush yards a game, 120. And for yards allowed, 167 passing, 184 rushing. So they're allowing a lot of rush yards, which is something to consider. And Jamar Smith, their quarterback, has actually played, I'd say he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league for sure, definitely a top 3, as last week he was 20 for 30, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw an interception, but he hasn't been bad. I mean, he's played decent. He's definitely played good the first couple of games here. And once again, defensively, they're allowing a decent amount of yards defensively, but the offense has done just fine. Breakers, 20 points a game, 10 points allowed. Pass yards a game, 208. Rush yards a game, 139. And for yards allowed, 118 passing, 101 for rushing. Now, the Breakers, after Week 1, this team rushed the ball. They were on the ground a lot in their Week 1 matchup against the Stars. But in Week 2, they threw the ball a lot more, and this team had a lot of success doing so. Kyle Sloter, 25 for 39 in Week 2, 266 yards and 2 touchdowns. Some outstanding stats. I mean, for an offense that's this is only their second game together. I mean, that was actually pretty impressive seeing what Sloter did in week 2. So, I mean, this team, it kind of looked like after Week 1 they'd be mainly a rushing team, but in Week 2 they were able to do both just fine. And so this team offensively is suddenly looking really dangerous, and their defense obviously held the Bandits to only 3 points. So, and for yards allowed, they got 118 passing, 101 for rushing. So the Bandits overall, or the Breakers overall, looking like the most complete team in this league right now. I mean, the Stallions have looked good as well, but I feel like the Breakers, it's pretty clear that they're the best team in this league right now. Recent matchups, if you look at both these teams' first 2 weeks of action, Stallions beat the Gamblers 33-28, and they beat the Generals in Week 1 28-24. So they've scored a decent amount of points here, yet they've allowed a decent amount as well. And for the Breakers, beat the Bandits 34-3 and also beat the Stars 23-17. I've actually got the Stars ranked number 4 in the league heading into Week 3. So, I mean, after Philadelphia beat the Maulers 30-23 this past weekend, I mean, they didn't look terrible at all. So, I mean, the Stars are potentially one of the better teams in the league, and the Breakers beat them too. So clearly the best resume so far is clearly New Orleans. Some key points for this one: Stallions, Jamar Smith looking like one of the best quarterbacks for sure. I mean, your big 3 of quarterbacks so far in this league, I would say, are Kyle Sloter, Jamar Smith, and then Brian Scott, who's on Philadelphia's team. I mean, you would think Jordan Talmadge would be one of them, but so far he's been definitely disappointing. And I mean, I think he got benched, if I'm right, in that Week 2 matchup, and the other quarterback, White, got in for a little while. So, I mean, yeah, he's been a disappointment. But yeah, your big 3 of quarterbacks, I mean, you got 2 of them in this matchup here. For the Breakers, most complete team in the league, it looks like so far. Kyle Sloter was outstanding in Week 2, and defensively they shut down the Bandits, didn't allow them to get anything going offensively, which was the key to their success there. But that said, let's get to the prediction here for Stallions and Breakers coming up here in Week 3. Definitely the game of the week coming up here in the USFL. I'm going to go with the Breakers here, 27-24 is my predicted final score. So I do have a decent amount of scoring in this matchup. Both teams have put up some a decent amount of points in their first 2 games, so wouldn't be surprised to see this one go a bit higher scoring than what we're used to, at least so far in the USFL. Then again, defensively, it could be a strong matchup. I feel like the offenses will do just fine in this matchup. Probability 55% towards the Breakers. Over/under is 44.5. I'll take the over for this one by a decent amount too, and Birmingham to cover the spread, which is currently 3.5 points towards the Breakers. Tough spread to bet on here if you're into betting on for this game. It's a tough spread. I mean, this game could easily go either way. I currently have the Stallions taking the spread because I only have them losing by 3 right now, which, I mean, losing by a field goal I feel like would be a pretty likely circumstance here for the Stallions. But I do think the Breakers win this game here, though. But I mean, it would definitely be a surprise if the Stallions won. I mean, after how the Breakers performed in week 2 against the Bandits, they were pretty impressive. But that's it. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.